Okay, so the last things we've got are reflexes. So let's talk about reflexes and what those are. So reflex arc. So you have somatic reflexes, which are skeletal muscles, and autonomic reflexes, the smooth muscle, cardiac muscle, and glands. Two types of reflexes that we're going to talk about are spinal reflexes and cranial reflexes. We're really not going to talk about cranial reflexes very much until we do the cranial nerves. So in this, the components of a reflex arc, you have a sensory receptor, sensory neuron, an integrating center, a motor neuron, and an effector. Okay, so the effector response is a reflex. The receptor, if the stimulus is strong enough, an action potential is generated within the sensory neuron, which then propagates that action potential, synapses with neurons in the spinal cord or the brain, and the central nervous system, the spinal cord or brain, is the integrating center. So you can have either a monosynaptic reflex or a polysynaptic reflex, and then you have a motor neuron and an effector. Reflexes can also be ipsilateral, contralateral, or bilateral. So ipsilateral reflexes on the same side of the body. Contralateral, you do something on one side and it affects something on the other side of the body. And bilateral, the reflex would affect both sides of the body at the same time. Next slide. So we're going to look at the patellar reflex. The sensory receptors are muscle spindles in the quadriceps femoris, so the quads. Sensory neuron, it's a monosynaptic reflex arc and also part of a polysynaptic reflex arc. The integrating center is monosynaptic. There's a motor neuron. The effector is a quadriceps femoris group. There is also something called reciprocal innervation, which is stimulation of contraction in muscles. You also have to simultaneously inhibit or relax antagonistic muscles. And the sensory neuron in this for reciprocal innervation is also part of this polysynaptic reflex arc. So, for instance, if I flex my arm, okay, so my biceps contract to do that, okay, but my triceps had to relax. So you had innervation of the biceps and you had reciprocal innervation of the triceps. So it's relaxation, contraction, okay. So, and then if I extend my arm, I have to relax the biceps and I have to contract the triceps. The triceps will be innervated and the biceps are now reciprocally innervated. And then I'll go back. So this will innervate the biceps and reciprocal innervation to relax the triceps. So innervate the triceps, and at the same time I am doing a reciprocal innervation to relax the triceps. Okay, next slide. So here's a diagram of the components. You have I'm going to start with the sensory receptor, number 4 over here. So there's a receptor, and then you get a sensation, and you get a nerve impulse come up here. So there's the sensory nerve axon, or cell body is here, and then the axon, sensory nerve cell axon, and then you have this integrating center. So here and here with this interneuron, that's your interneuron in the spinal cord, and then you send out a signal along the motor cell. There's a motor cell nerve body here, number 7, and the motor cell nerve axon, and the information goes over, and what's hidden behind my face over here is muscle cells, and those are taught to contract. So you stick a pin in your hand accidentally, put your hand down, and you get stuck with something, pain, and so it sends a reflex to pull your hand back real fast from that pain. Next slide. This is showing the reflex arc. So you have in this case, what we're doing is we're tapping the patellar tendon here with a hammer, and so that's going to cause this, number 1 here, is a stretch receptor. Okay, so it notices the muscles being stretched, because what happens is when you tap that patellar tendon, that stretches the tendon, it stretches the quadriceps a little bit, and the quadriceps goes, oh wait, I wasn't planning on stretching, so I'm going to I don't want to do that. I contract, and it makes your leg kick out. And how that works is, so this is a stretch receptor here, number 1, and then you have the sensory information comes up through the sensory neuron to the dorsal root ganglion. Okay, that's sensory, and then it comes into an integrating center. And you have 2 of them. that goes, and you also have another branch that goes up the brain, to just let the brain know, hey, there's something weird going on. The brain can sit there and think about it and say, is there anything really weird going on or not? But this reaction happens very, very quickly, going down through number 4 all the way down to the motor neuron, causes the muscle to contract. At the same time, there's a second signal that goes down through here, and that's reciprocal innervation, and it causes the hamstrings to relax. So those two things have to happen. So you have your leg bent, you hit it with a hammer, hit the patellar tendon with a hammer, leg kicks out because those quadriceps muscles contracted. At the same time, those hamstring muscles had to relax to allow the hamstring to do that. Otherwise, you tear the hamstrings. So or at least pull them. So your muscles have to work in concert with each other. So there's two innervations that happen. Then you also have this. So this is a monosynaptic reflex arc here, but there's also a polysynaptic portion over here, and also there's other portions that go up to the brain to say, hey, somebody's hit me with a hammer. What do you want me to do? Normally when we were in lab, we would do these reflexes, and it'd be a lot of fun to whack each other with hammers, but unfortunately we can't do that. So next slide. Here's just another example of this, more complicated example in a sense. You're walking along and you hit a little nail or something, and so what happens is your foot, you have pain sensation come up, and it goes into the spinal cord up here through the dorsal root ganglion into a multi-synaptic integrating center. And so you have some reciprocal innervation occurring as well as innervation occurring. But what you do is you reciprocal innervate your hamstrings. So you innervate your hamstring to pull your leg back away from that tack that you kicked into, and then you step back down by innervating the biceps femoris muscles, or the quadriceps femoris muscles. Plus, there's a whole bunch of other and you know this, and so this is all happening, and you have lots of other innervations that are happening all at the same time, because you can't just innervate just one set of muscles. You have to innervate muscles in your foot as well as your calf, as well as balance muscles up top, so you keep yourself upright while you're stepping away from this tack. Next slide. Some other reflexes that are interesting to think about. We're talking about adult reflexes, but neonatal or newborn baby reflexes, especially the Babinski sign and Moro and fencing reflexes, are kind of fun. Moro's reflex is if you ever dropped something around a baby, they'll go, and their hands will just go out. So you have extension of the arms, the fingers are extended, and if you have loud noise, then they'll calm back down. So it's just a startle reflex. There's also another one it's really kind of cute. If you turn the head to the side, the arm and leg on that side will extend. So if you turn the baby's head, it'll extend, and this arm comes over this way. If you turn the head the other way, it goes back the other way, because it's called the fencing reflex, because it looks like someone's is ready to on guard, fence with somebody. A Babinski sign is another fun one. You can actually do this if you have kids or spouse at home or something. You want to try this on them. You got to take their shoes off, and you take something. Doesn't have to be sharp, but just something that's somewhat pointy, like the end of a pin or something like that. So, and you'll drag it up. So this is the foot with the big toe. So you drag it up towards the pinky toe, and then across. If they're normal, either nothing happens or they curl their toes. Okay, if they're really ticklish, they'll probably curl their toes and pull back. But you go up and across. Okay, up there and across, and the toes will curl. In an infant, the toes don't curl; they separate like that. So they abduct, and so it's very characteristic. And if they don't abduct in a newborn, then there may be something wrong. And if they abduct in an adult, then that indicates that there is some sort of neurological issue, maybe possibly a nerve injury. Okay, and also one other fun one is like stepping and dancing. So if you hold a baby and you put their feet down so it just touches the surface, they'll also learn, they'll pick their feet up, go back and forth. So it's fun stuff to do with babies. Okay, anyway, next slide. Okay, so I'm going to put some videos up of testing reflexes, what those look like, and you guys can watch those. The patellar reflex, the biceps reflex, you can, if you actually, there's the biceps tendon right there, so if you ever arm relax and you hit that, it'll actually cause a reflex. Triceps reflex, there's a tendon back here, so you can hit that. It'll cause the arm to flex. Achilles reflex, if you put your knee down on a chair and have your foot hanging off the side and have somebody hit the Achilles tendon, it'll cause the toes to flex. And then the plantar flexion, you can also see that one as well if you do the stroke up the bottom of somebody's foot. Okay, next slide. Okay, so there we are. We're done with the spinal nerves. Yay! So anyway, I'll post the videos for you for the reflexes, and you can watch those. Those are short videos, not a big deal. And the next thing we'll do is we're going to go on to cranial nerves. So I'll do that lecture next, and see you on the next video. Bye.